Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more predator patterning. And since turkey season is starting to wind down in a lot of areas, I figured we'll start mixing in some other stuff again. There will still be turkey patterns, of course, but today we've got a combination that I definitely am curious to see what happens, because in theory, it should give us a really good looking pattern. But who knows, this is kind of an interesting choke with these shells, so it might completely ruin our pattern. I don't think that'll be the case, but we're just gonna have to try it and see. But for the shell I've got here today, I brought out some more of the Salt Creek triple threat TSS shells. They are a 12 gauge, 3-inch, 2-ounce payload of number 4 TSS shot, moving about 1250 feet per second. And with these being number 4 TSS shot, you're going to be packing quite a bit more punch than you would with a lead number 4. So these are like the perfect shotgun type of load for fox, coyote, even down to groundhogs and stuff. You could probably push them up into hogs and deer within close distances, but really that coyote fox predator range is really where these shells want to shine. We did do some energy and penetration testing with these as well. If you haven't seen that video and want to check it out, the card will be above here on the screen. But these are definitely carrying a good amount of energy and they pattern really well from our test. So I'm definitely excited to see what happens today. But as for the setup we've got to run them through today, I brought out the Remington 1187, but I threw in this choke. And it's been a little while since we've seen it on the channel, but this is a Patternmaster Black Mamba 690 constriction choke. It's supposed to be Patternmaster's kind of do-all choke mixed between waterfowl and turkey and stuff like that. It does have the gas over constriction spirals on the inside there, and being 690, it definitely should be a pretty good constriction for what these shells like, since they are a larger TSS shot and we can't necessarily run them through too tight of a choke. But I'm definitely curious to see what this Patternmaster gas over constriction type of choke can do with those Salt Creek triple threats. But as for the test today, everything is going to be the same as we usually do it with shells like this. We've got the big sheet of paper set up at 40 yards with a spray painted dot on it. That'll be my point of aim. I've got the chronograph as well so we can get our velocity. So we'll take the shot, look at the chrono, and then go down and look at our performance and kind of get an idea of how well these actually patterned. So let's head over here and take the shot and just see how well this combination can actually work together. Alright, so that shell gave us 1,082 through the chrono. The box does claim 1,250, however, if I'm remembering correctly, when we've previously tested it, these shells have been in and around the 1,100 feet per second mark. So although this particular one is a little bit under our claim, as per what the chronograph says, it's still pretty much right where these shells typically are for us, I believe, in our testing. Plus 1,082 with TSS number 4s, that's still plenty enough energy. But how well did they actually pattern down at 40 yards? Let's go check it out and see what we got. Alright, now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and this is what we got. Now for reference, the paper is 36 inches wide by probably about 40 inches tall. Our pattern was a touch low as compared to my point of aim there, but more than likely that was probably just me. Either way, we absolutely see a great looking pattern here. There's no predator or anything that's getting through that swarm of pellets at 40 yards, and that's a pattern you could take out the 60 easily. Now compared to a couple of the other tests we've done with these, the core area might be a little bit less even than what we had seen before. It does have a couple little splotchy voids right in the core area there, mainly a big streak up that right edge, but still the overall size of the pattern is all right there. So this might be the tightest overall pattern we've seen from these shells, but that gas over constriction might have played a little bit into scattering the very edges of the pattern just a little bit more than what we had previously seen. Now we really only have kind of one flyer up there at the very top. Maybe you might count one or two of those down at the bottom left to be flyers, but still all of your pattern is right there. So we'll throw a couple templates up to get us a better reference point as to how these actually would have done, because it's definitely going to look pretty good. There's no doubt about that. Alright, we'll start off here with a 10-inch circle. Normally I line these templates up with my actual dot point of aim on here, but since we were a little bit low, I did adjust it a little bit over. But as you can see, that 10-inch circle would be vital size on pretty much anything you would ever take with these shells, and clearly there's nothing that's getting through that. I mean, that could even be a turkey pattern, even though they are TSS 4s. If you want a hard hitter for a turkey, that would absolutely do it. So definitely our core area looks plenty good good enough to get the job done for you. There's no doubt about that. So let's throw a little bit more realistic hunting type of scenario template up with our hog template and just see what kind of devastation we might have. Alright, so here's our hog template, and although these would absolutely take a hog, there's no doubt about that, I would probably still limit it down to coyotes, which might be a touch smaller than what my template is here, but still, we can get a very good reference as to what's going on with this kind of a pattern. That would absolutely demolish anything you had within it. Any kind of predator, fox, coyote, doesn't matter. That could be a turkey load, that could be a groundhog pest control load, and if you were the person to use these on a deer or hog, you can see right there how many of them you would have through the vital area. They're probably not going to make it very far if you're using them within a relatively close distance. So that is absolutely devastating, that's for sure. I mean, that is easily 98+% of the pattern within a hog size template at 40 yards. Really, we don't have many outside of that template. We got the one flyer up there and maybe a couple down there between the legs, but other than that, everything is right there. So definitely looking very good if you wanted to use these for a hunting type of scenario. So once again, Salt Creek has made another really good performance shell. And I'd say that if you had a Patternmaster Black Mamba 690 and you wanted to run these shells with it, it would be a pretty decent combination for you, that's for sure. You could really kind of do everything with that combination, from turkeys all the way up through varmints and predators. It would work. So definitely very impressive, I'd say, as for the results, and not much to complain about at all with that. Okay, and here's the wad from that shell, and looks pretty much absolutely perfect. Definitely nothing that I'm noticing that would cause an issue. There's nothing stuck down in there except the little cork piece they used down in the base of that wad. Maybe a couple little granules of buffer material, but clearly didn't snag on anything. It opened up pretty much as perfectly even as what you could ask for. No rips, tears, pinholes, anything like that. Looks perfectly fine to me. Definitely nothing I'm concerned about, that's for sure. Alright, y'all, well, what do you think about that pattern right there? Definitely, you can't argue with that kind of a result. With a 2-ounce payload of TSS 4s at 40 yards, that would take care of anything you would ever really need them to do. Would I use them on a deer or hog? Probably not. They would get the job done, but you would have a pretty large amount of meat damage, or at least pellets in the meat, with that kind of a pattern. So if you're using TSS shot for deer or hogs, I would step it up in a little bit larger shot size. You have a few less pellets to deal with, and clearly Salt Creek can make these shells perform pretty decently, so I don't think you're going to have a problem with that. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little bit surprised one way or the other? Have you tested these shells for yourself, or would you hunt with a pattern like that? And if you would hunt with these shells, what kind of stuff would you be trying to take with them? Let me know all that down below. But at the end of the day, that's a result you can't really argue with, and another pretty impressive performance from Salt Creek, that's for sure. But with that being said, I've got plenty more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox. You can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description down below if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.